You're listening to the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast.
What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, the Hot Commodity Ant C, and I'm joined by my Hot Commodity and our new WWE pay-per-view champion and my man, Ant. How's it feel to win?
Awesome.
Yeah, you normally end up, throwing the...
I'm usually number 2.
Yeah, so you got the win here.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm proud of you. So, yes, I give up my title, but maybe I could find a way to kind of be like a co-holder or something, become a heel here, like Michelle McCool and Layla did back in the day. But we're covering WWE Elimination Chamber Perth. It was live in Perth, Australia on February 25th, 2024. And this is the second time that WWE has done a live pay-per-view in Australia. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a good place. The crowd was pumped up. You weren't really feeling the crowd though.
Through parts of it, yeah. I've been kind of watching the recaps, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a decent show. To start out, we have a kickoff show. Well, first of all, we stayed up. We started. You took a nap, but I was up all night, and we started it live at 5 a.m. and we watched it through. It ended around 8:30, 8:40 maybe. But it was a good show. I mean, it totally messed up my day. I was up the next day at like 3 o'clock. But it's okay. It was nice to do once.
Yeah.
So we start off the kickoff show with the women's tag team titles. The champions, the Kabuki Warriors, defeating Candice LeRae and hometown hero Indy Hartwell. The end comes after Kyrie lands an insane elbow. Decent tag match, nothing great to start out the night, but it's a kickoff match, so it really wasn't expected to be much. But I was expecting the Iconics to come back, and I was upset when they didn't show up.
I feel bad. You were excited.
I was so excited. I was going to pop hard for them, but they didn't show up. But at least we got to see.
They posted a picture on Instagram, right?
Yeah, and I thought they were going to be there, but it's all right. They won. So officially kicking off our show is the Women's Elimination Chamber match. We have the EST Bianca Belair, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, Liv Morgan, Naomi, and Becky Lynch. All 6 of these women all are former champions, whether it's NXT, tag team, or women. So it's exciting to see champions in this match. I won't go over exactly everything that happened, but it was a good match. I like this one, the Women's Elimination Chamber, better than the men's. Naomi gets eliminated after Naomi does a sunset flip bomb off the top of a pod to Morgan, but then Tiffany pins Naomi. And then Raquel Rodriguez comes out next, followed by Bianca Belair. And it's continuing to be a decent match. Tiffany Stratton gets annihilated throughout the match. She's the one that got most of the bumps. She's new, so she's paying her dues here. Liv nails a top rope face buster to Tiffany, and Tiffany Stratton is gone. Bianca ends up nailing Raquel with a KOD, and Raquel Rodriguez is then eliminated. And then, yes. Thank you, sir. Our technical whiz is here helping us with this. So Naomi's gone, Tiffany's gone, Raquel's gone. Then
for a minute, Liv might win.
I thought so too. Well, Liv Morgan, speaking of, she rolls up Bianca Belair, and Bianca's then eliminated, and it's down to Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. And the end comes. Becky Lynch hits Liv with a manhandle slam, and Becky Lynch moves on to take on either Rhea Ripley or Nia Jax at WrestleMania 40. We all thought Becky was going to win this. I gave this match a 7 out of 10.
We thought Becky, or a second would have been Bianca.
Mm-hmm. So what'd you think of this match to open chamber?
It was good.
Did you like it better than the men's, or what did you like about it?
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was a little more exciting than the men's, to be honest. And usually, well, actually, it kind of happened with the Rumble too.
Yeah, I agree.
The women's was kind of better. So
I made a tweet saying that, again, the women's sort of stole the show.
Yeah,
on the pay-per-views. Okay, but you were happy Becky won though, because you picked her.
Yeah.
And I do think her outfit is a little tribute to Scott Hall with a little blood on it.
But I'm glad that Liv
made it to the end. Yeah.
And that was
a lot of fans are now on Twitter saying we want Liv, kind of like they did with Cody. So who knows? But I do think Liv definitely deserves a shot at the title, but maybe not at WrestleMania. And if she does, maybe she'll fight somebody else.
I'm sure. I'm sure she'll be at WrestleMania one of the 2 nights somehow.
Yeah. Next, we have the undisputed tag team titles up for grabs. The champion is the Judgment Day with Dominic Mysterio taking on the team of the New Catch Republic, which is Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. And this is another good match from Elimination Chamber. I knew these two teams are going to have a decent match because Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne were rivals back in NXT UK and had good matches together. So working as a team, I was sure they were going to have good chemistry, and they did. They end up nailing a Birminghammer to Damian Priest to get a 2 count, but the end comes after Damian lands a super double south of heaven, and then Finn hits a coup de grace, and Judgment Day retain the titles. Again, I gave this match a 7 out of 10. Decent tag team action here, but what did you think?
It was all right. It was like when I saw Dominic and JD the night before lose. It's like everybody has to go through them before they fight Damian and Finn. And it was kind of predictable. I knew they weren't going to get the titles yet. It was all right. It could have been better.
What was I going to say? I do think that I am kind of getting sick and tired of seeing them as champions. Like, I like them as a team.
Yeah, but they don't really do anything.
They don't do anything. Yeah.
Like, once a month they have a tag team match. And other than that, we barely see Finn Balor, and Damian's all focused on his Money in the Bank.
So I definitely think that this is going to be, we're going to get The Miz and R-Truth versus Judgment Day at WrestleMania. But I do wonder when they're going to counter in Damian Priest's Money in the Bank briefcase, since he has it until July, I think, right? Or is it June? When was it? Was July? Well, all right. Next, we get the Grayson Waller Effect, which is co-hosted by Austin Theory. World champion Seth Rollins and the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes come out. Seth says, I am weeks away from being cleared to compete. Cody then grabs the mic and says, I'm a fan of The Rock, and if he were here, he'd probably call me a candy poo something. Grayson says, you're talking about the people's champion. And Cody says, maybe at one point he was, but to be that, you have to be around the people. Rock, you slapped me. At WrestleMania 40, I am fighting Roman Reigns, but until then, I am open and I want to fight you one-on-one. And then with that, Seth takes the mic and says, with the bloodline, there is no such thing as one-on-one. You won't be fighting the battle alone. Theory says, you think you're going to face The Rock? It doesn't matter what you think. And he pretty much mocks The Rock. And then Seth tosses Theory into the Grayson Waller Effect sign. And then Cody nails a Cody cutter and Seth hits a stomp. And that was the end of that segment. I mean, for them to be planting, oh, they're going to have a special moment where they're going to talk, nothing really happened here. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was kind of a big build up to nothing. I didn't think the Grayson Waller Effect was so great. And we never really got what Roman was telling them.
Yeah, we didn't see. You're right. There was no implications with that.
They didn't attack them or anything.
No.
So I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah. Well, again, nothing. Just the same promo they gave on Raw. They're going to work together to make sure that.
I kind of feel like maybe where there's no PLE next month, maybe they're going to make a big deal out of one of the Raws and SmackDowns. And
they could,
do something like that, maybe. But I can't really see The Rock and Cody fighting on a Raw.
Do you think it will happen on WrestleMania Night 1?
No, maybe. But then that would mean that they'd be fighting both nights.
Yeah.
Well, Cody would be. But we'll see.
Well, or Seth, too, because Seth is going to be defending the title against the winner of this next match.
Right.
Yeah. They both would be.
That would mean the first night would be the tag team, and the second night
the only person who wouldn't fight twice would be The Rock.
Right.
Roman's gonna fight.
I don't see Roman fighting twice at me.
All right.
I don't know.
We'll see. Next, we have the men's Elimination Chamber match: Kevin Owens versus the Almighty Bobby Lashley versus United States Champion Logan Paul versus Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and LA Knight and Drew and LA Knight start the match. Kevin Owens comes out next. This is a lot of stuff. I love the beginning when Drew McIntyre was tossing, LA Knight was slamming Drew McIntyre's face into Kevin Owens' pod, and Kevin Owens kept on punching Drew McIntyre while he was inside the pod. That was cool. Kevin Owens is out next, and Bobby Lashley comes out. Randy Orton is followed by those guys, then Logan Paul. Bobby Lashley is the first guy to be eliminated after he is claymored by Drew McIntyre 2 times, and Lashley is eliminated. Then LA Knight hits Randy Orton with a BFT. And then AJ Styles drives. Well, I mean, he doesn't drive. He takes a plane for like 16 hours to get to Australia. And he nails LA Knight with many chair shots and then lands a Styles clash onto a steel chair to LA Knight. Drew McIntyre pins Knight and LA is gone. So it looks like at Mania, we'll probably get AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Just for the fact that AJ would travel that far to attack LA Knight, there's a reason we're going to see that. Yeah. Then we see Randy nail an RKO to Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens is then gone. And we're down to Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Randy Orton. Logan grabs brass knuckles, but then Randy Orton hits Logan Paul out of nowhere with an RKO, and Paul is gone. And before Logan Paul could leave the chamber, he's down and out. And I even mentioned to you, and I was like, something's weird. He didn't leave yet. Randy goes to nail an RKO to Drew McIntyre, which he does. But then Logan Paul ends up hitting Randy with brass knuckles, and Drew McIntyre's crawls over, and Drew McIntyre wins the Elimination Chamber, and it will officially be Drew McIntyre versus World Champion Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I gave this a 6 out of 10. I thought it was a decent, but I didn't like Drew getting the win, and I lost to this match. This is the match that you got the victory in, but what'd you think? And also, not to cut you off again, we probably will see Randy Orton versus Logan Paul at Mania.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that the only exciting thing that is going to come out of this is a rivalry between Logan Paul and Randy Orton, and I think that could be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like we already knew Drew was probably going to win. And
what do you think of them not? Because we've been talking on the podcast about Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Why do you think they didn't go with that? Or do you think they should have went?
I think they kind of tried that a little bit in the last couple pay-per-views, and nothing really great came of it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they just randomly switched with AJ. But I mean, listen, AJ is a good wrestler, but
they had to make. I think Randy was probably like the one people wanted to win the most, so he kind of had to get the screw job.
I just feel like we're going to see a lot of rematches. We've already seen AJ Styles versus LA Knight on SmackDown. We've already seen Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. We've already seen Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. I mean, these are 3 of the top matches. I mean, and again, the only match we haven't really seen is Randy Orton versus Logan Paul, which is interesting. But
yeah,
we're still on the road to Mania. We've got over 40 days, so who knows what can happen. Triple H comes out next, and he thanks the fans, and he announces the outdoor attendance record, which is 52,590 fans, all there in Australia. Crazy. Well, we've made it to our main event, the World Women's Champion, the Nightmare Rhea Ripley, taking on the Irresistible Force, Nia Jax. And I think this is Nia Jax's best match that I've seen her compete in. She looked unstoppable, from her annihilators to her nailing the Samoan drop through the table. But the Nightmare Rhea Ripley definitely got the home field advantage and the victory. Rhea lands a superplex, a roundhouse kick, and then a riptide. And Rhea Ripley is still the World Women's Champion. I knew she was going to retain. I gave that match an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a good main event. What do you think?
It was good. It was the only match that could have been the main event.
I agree. I mean, I do think the only thing I disliked about this match was I feel like Nia should have kicked out to the riptide. Maybe have her do it more than once just because of how dominant Nia was until she hit that move. But if you want to make that move look powerful.
But Rhea did kick out of Nia's stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I kind of wish, since she dominated so much in the match, Nia, I wish that she kind of had an opportunity to kick out and then lose. But all in all, I give it an 8 out of 10. So with this pay-per-view, I give it a 7 out of 10. I feel like it was a bit better than the Rumble. But it could have been a bit better. It was kind of like I liked anytime they go overseas, I feel like a lot of these shows are like a house show, they don't really nothing crazy happens. It's just like predictable. And I was just upset that Orton didn't get the victory with the way like they had the Legends biography about him come out just this past week. They were sort of like pimping him out to be the winner. So I was surprised that he didn't get the victory. But all in all, a decent pay-per-view. Were you glad that you stayed up to 5 o'clock?
Yeah, it was good. It's just like we everybody's been expecting for like something crazy to happen the last few pay-per-views, and we're not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people build up the expectations too much. And every pay-per-view, we think, the Undertaker's coming back or The Rock's coming back or something amazing. And it's kind of been disappointing. So, I think I for one want to stop looking at all the predictions because it kind of sets you up for excitement that doesn't get.
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't like to look stuff up, because sometimes, like for me, I usually ends up becoming right, and I'm like pissed because I want to be surprised.
Yeah, but lately, nothing's coming right.
I know. Well, it did come out right. You became the champion, sir.
Yeah.
Even though you cheated. He knew ahead of time because he was looking at the predictions. That's how he knew.
Yeah,
he just said it. He just called himself out. He goes, I'm not going to look at the predictions anymore. Yeah. Well, listen, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Anything to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, well, I have to. It's not the hot commodity.
I hear you.
Christian will be joining us next time. This is a decent chamber. We'll be dropping Raw, NXT, Dynamite. We got Revolution coming your way. WrestleMania 40 is on the way. A lot of good stuff coming. Until next time, stay safe and stay uncensored.